I think they will fix some things. I'm glad you said, will they fix anything as opposed to fix everything. They definitely won't fix everything, but they could fix a few things. One, I think Kevin Love will be better offensively, not having to bang bodies with fives defensively. Yes. Two, if we're ever going to get the Tristan Thompson back that we had seen the last 3 years, it's back in the starting lineup. He's healthy again now. It was an underrated story that a guy who was the NBA's Iron Man late in the last year, he had started like 360 straight games. He got hurt, streak snaps, and loses his starting spot. And it seemed to steal his mojo. He's averaging 5 rebounds a game this year. That can't happen when rebounding is your biggest trait. So it should help him. It should also help their defense. It won't help the fact they've had the least productive backcourt in the NBA this year, but it is a step in the right direction.
Just from a simple standpoint, the way teams have attacked the Cavaliers when they're on defense is they have decided whoever Kevin Love is guarding, they're going to pick and roll with him and Isaiah Thomas. So whoever's Isaiah's guarding, whoever Kevin Love, because they're the worst defenders in the lineup. All right, so they put their worst defenders in a pick and roll. And now with Tristan guarding the 5, when they get in a pick and roll, they have their best individual defender with their worst defender. Right. So instead of having their 2 worst defenders in the pick and roll situation, now they have Tristan, who is great in the pick and roll. It should help out IT. Offensive-wise, it helps out LeBron, and it also helps out Kevin Love because their matchups are a little bit better now.
And maybe this is a shock to Jay Crowder's system, because it hasn't been talked about as much, but Jay Crowder's been really bad. Like, he was a good part of that trade because he's on such a team-friendly deal, just $7 million a year the next 2 years after this one. Supposed to be a good 3-and-D guy. He's having the worst year since his rookie season.
Yeah, don't forget the other guy with the J, too.
Well, I don't think this will help JR. Like, the JR's not getting a switch here.
Well, I'm saying JR hadn't played.
Oh, well. He's been struggling. Crowder's been Jay Crowder's been bad. JR's been bad.
Top to bottom, they've all been struggling for the most part. But is this the kind of thing where you make one tweak here and there, bring a guy in, take a guy out, and maybe everyone starts getting on the same page?
It's a step. The next step I mentioned Jay Crowder going to the bench. J.R. Smith will go to the bench as well if they end up pulling off that George Hill trade. So there's more things to come.
All right, back to the NFL. Depending on how you look at it, the Super Bowl is either right around the corner or an endless wait. Just ask Eagles head coach Doug Peterson, who's getting asked constantly about tackling the beast that is the New England Patriots. I mean, can you blame the barrage of questions he gets? Bill Belichick and Tom Brady have won 5 Super Bowls together. Doug Peterson and Nick Foles, not nearly as many, also none. Doug Peterson was asked if he has to make sure his team isn't in awe of the Patriots' mystique.
If I make this all about them, we're in trouble. Honestly, we're in trouble. And it's everything's going to be written about it. Everything has been written about it, talked about it, discussed, debated, and it's about us. And I'll keep saying that. It's what we do and how well we execute, and I can't worry about that.
First of all, CeCe, explain what the Patriots' mystique is.
I think any team that wins has a certain amount of mystique because they're champions. Everyone's not a champion. Everyone doesn't have championship pedigree. Everyone doesn't have championship experience. Everyone doesn't have the greatest coach that the game has seen. Everyone doesn't have Tom Brady. So it's not as if it's a David and Goliath, like it's a myth. No, this is real. You know, so most mystique, it's a myth. But what New England does week in, week out, year in, year out, it's real. But if I was Doug Peterson, what I would do is, it's not about the mystique. Because when you go for the coin toss at the Super Bowl, well, thank God I'm going to be on the field, courtesy of the NFL.
There you go.
But they don't roll those 5 trophies out there with them. It's about X's and O's. It's about a scheme. Like right now, Doug Peterson's he's going to show about 25 to 50 plays where New England, they're just normal. They're just a football team.
All right, so that's really interesting because that's the opposite of what we typically hear coaches do, right? Coaches usually try to show you where your opponent's at its best. You're saying he's going to do the opposite.
Because of the mystique and because New England, you want to make them look normal. Like Philadelphia wants to be in the same position that the last big games that New England was in. They want to be in the same position that Jacksonville was in. That's what they want to be. They hope at halftime in the 3rd quarter they're in the same position as Atlanta because they believe they have better personnel. They believe they have a better roster. So in doing that, you're not going against the mystique. Last year, Atlanta, they weren't going against the mystique. They were going against a defense that made adjustments, started blitzing, and took Atlanta out of their game plan. Atlanta didn't run the ball. That's not mystique. So it's still about the X's and O's, and I believe that Doug Peterson, he'll rely on Andy Reid and some of the things that Andy Reid has done to be successful against Bill Belichick.
We should let people know about the Andy Reid thing if people don't know. Doug Peterson was with Andy Reid when Andy Reid was in Philly. Then he was the Chiefs offensive coordinator last year or 2 years ago when Andy Reid was obviously with the Chiefs, and now he's gone to Philly. And the Chiefs this year under Andy Reid beat the Patriots.
Yes, and the last time Philly was in the Super Bowl, Andy Reid was their coach, and they did have success moving the football against a Bill Belichick coach defense.
All right, we'll take a break. Coming up, some unexpected details have emerged surrounding Kyrie's exit from Cleveland. That's next on First Things First.
Man,